this has been the formative figure for good or better, for good or ill around the world, of course, all evil for Americans, for an entire American generation. And so if the number of young people and young faces seems large in places like Lafayette Park, that's the reason. And we just learned that among them is our own Rachel Maddow, who's calling in on the phone. Rachel, you there?
I am here, Brian. I'm sorry it's a little bit loud, but it's a little bit loud here right now for all the reasons you might expect.
Well, we're seeing one dimension. Our camera swung around Pennsylvania Avenue. We've got at various times folks on people's shoulders. We've got a couple people in a tree. We've got American flags. I saw one old school "Don't Tread on Me" flag making its way, kind of getting surfed across the crowd. What's your vantage point?
My vantage point right now, I'm on the very edge of Lafayette Park, and when I got here about 40 minutes ago, this was very far away from the crowd. But the crowd, as we just heard at Ground Zero, really continues to swell here. Looking out towards the part of the city that is not sort of blocked off the way the White House is, people just continue to stream here. I saw people stopping their cabs in traffic, running from their cabs. I saw people, seen a lot of people arriving on bikes, people pushing strollers, walking their dogs here and arriving. As you get closer and closer to the White House, the atmosphere starts to feel a little frat party-ish. It's a lot of young people. I'm looking at a lot of 22-year-olds out here and realizing that they were 12 when 9/11 happened, and that this has shaped their entire adult lives. It's a very, very happy, very young, celebratory crowd here. It's a cross between a pep rally and a frat party and VJ Day and Tahrir Square. I mean, it's ideologically mixed. Absolutely, I saw one guy with a Bush Cheney placard right next to a guy in a T-shirt that said "Jesus was a Democrat." So, but everybody's getting along, and you can hear the squealing and the chants of USA, and from periodically the Star Spangled Banner is breaking out in this crowd. It's just continuing to get bigger, and it's very, very happy.
Well, it's interesting, Rachel, because to be honest with you, I'm sitting here thinking, with all the security jurisdictions that have eyes on you right now, I mean, think of it. You're on Park Service property. The street is governed by the Metropolitan Police. The sidewalk across the street becomes Secret Service, and so on. They'll be very flummoxed by this large flash mob across from the White House. And, of course, which brings you back to the reason, which is the increased security in our world since 9/11.
That's right. And I was contrasting this with Jim Mikuszewski's reports from the Pentagon earlier about how U.S. military facilities and sensitive U.S. sites around the world and around the country are on high alert. This, of course, the death of Osama bin Laden has long been expected to be some sort of a time of potentially high threat, as Richard Engel said earlier, potentially when al-Qaeda wants to reassert itself. It does not feel like a high security zone down here. There's definitely Park Service and other visible police here. They are letting people get their yayas out. They are letting people have an emotional catharsis here. I'm looking at people right now climbing the lampposts just a few feet from the fence that rings the White House, climbing the trees. People have flags up on the lampposts and on the trees. I imagine that eventually the Secret Service or the Park Police here will try to contain the crowd in some way. But right now it's still just swelling, and it's an organic, self-focused, congratulatory, hugging strangers kind of thing.
And one more thing, I've got to say, the point you made earlier reminded me of the Beloit College Index that, you know, your point that a lot of the people in Lafayette right now have never known a world in most of their adult lives without magnetometers, without having to consume or throw away your bottle of water before getting on a plane, not being allowed to have a nail clipper, having trash bins that are actually, car bomb prevention devices in front of our public buildings.
That's right. And those things probably will not go away anytime soon. To know that those things at some point in America's history and in yours and my adult life didn't exist is probably as unimaginable to many of these people here as this scene tonight was unimaginable anytime before tonight. It is, I think, for me personally, and talking to people tonight, just doing man on the street type interviews and discussing with people what's going on, This feels like something that America did. This feels like an accomplishment. This does not feel like safety. This does not feel like something is over. This feels like something that we wanted to do for a very long time, and we did it. People were chanting here tonight, yes, we did. Yes, we did. And I don't think anybody thinks the world is going to go back to what it was before we all knew Osama bin Laden. But America did something we said we were going to do. We finally made good on that promise. And that's what's making all these people here right next to me chant USA, USA.
Rachel Maddow, a superb bit of reporting tonight from the park across the street from the White House, giving us what we were missing and what we don't get from this flat one-dimensional picture of this live, very patriotically fueled flash mob, and that is what it feels like to be there. Appreciate the phone call. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Brian.